We open on Ray Monroe, a construction engineer carrying visible emotional baggage. He's on a tense road trip home with his wife Joanne and their 6-year-old daughter Perry, following an uncomfortable Thanksgiving visit. Their strained marriage is palpable, filled with silences, unspoken regrets, and quiet resentment. They stop at a gas station. Ray's distracted. Perry, looking for something to do, wanders toward an active construction site. A barking dog lunges at her. She panics and falls backward into a pit. Ray leaps in to save her. We hear a thud. Everything goes quiet. When Ray comes to, he sees Perry unconscious, but breathing. Joanne screams for help. They drive to the nearest hospital, a strange, sterile facility in the middle of nowhere. Perry seems to have a fractured arm. The ER staff are oddly cold and procedural. Eventually, a nurse tells Ray that Joanne is accompanying Perry to the radiology basement for a scan. Ray is asked to stay in the waiting room. He dozes off. When he wakes, they're gone. Ray returns to the desk, confused. He asks how long it's been. No one seems to know anything about his wife or daughter. He demands answers. The receptionist pulls up a file. It shows only Ray checked in. No mention of Joanne or Perry. Ray grows more frantic as staff continue denying the existence of his wife and daughter. He's been wandering the hospital, asking questions, growing louder, more insistent. Tension rises. His behavior escalates. His tone becomes erratic. Patients and staff begin to watch from a distance. Without warning, 2 security personnel approach him from behind. A nurse quickly steps in and injects him with a sedative. Ray struggles, but it's no use. His body goes limp. He's taken to a private office to rest. He appears calm, pretending to cooperate, promising the nurse and security guard Jeff that he'll behave. But the moment they leave him alone, Ray begins searching for a way to counteract the effects of the sedative. Inside a nearby cabinet, he finds a vial of adrenaline and injects himself multiple times, enough to sharpen his senses and override the sedation. Breathing heavily, still dizzy, he smashes the small window on the office door and escapes into the corridor, ignoring the pounding in his head. As he wanders the halls, he runs into Volk, but strangely, the man is now dressed as a doctor instead of a nurse. A subtle inconsistency that hints further at Ray's unreliable perception. Before Ray can question Volk, Jeff spots him and shouts. A chase erupts through the hospital. Ray flees outside and hides in the back of a truck. When Jeff gives up the search, thinking Ray has escaped into the night, Ray quietly slips away and returns to his car in the hospital lot. Clutching Perry's toy, Ray breaks down. Confused and hopeless, he spots a patrol car and runs toward it. The officers inside, skeptical but willing to listen, hear Ray's full story. He shows them his ID, explains what happened at the construction site, and insists his wife and daughter were taken by the hospital. He even shows a photo of his family for proof. The accusations are serious enough to warrant a look. The police follow Ray into the hospital and begin questioning staff. Jeff greets them and explains that everything he's done was for safety and protocol. Dr. Lucado backs this up. Still, the police request verification and ask to examine the area where Ray claims Perry was treated. The hospital staff take them to floor 3, the pediatric floor, but Ray insists they're going the wrong way. He swears he saw his wife and daughter taken to the lower levels. His protests are ignored. A check of the computer logs shows no CT scans were done on Perry, no admissions recorded. The evidence melts. Ray came in alone. The nurses dig through old paperwork and find an admission sheet with only Ray's name on it. Dr. Bertram arrives and tells police what happened earlier that day. According to him, Ray arrived alone and reported a car accident. Bertram noticed Ray's erratic behavior and asked for a second opinion from Lucado. They suggested a head scan, but Ray declined, saying he needed to get back to his wife Abby waiting outside. This shocks the police. Ray had never mentioned the name Abby. When confronted, Ray claims Bertram read that off the intake form. The inconsistencies pile up. One officer starts growing suspicious of Ray's mental state. To resolve the matter, Jeff suggests checking security footage. The video confirms Ray entered the hospital alone. He sits in the waiting area by himself, yet insists his wife was beside him the whole time. He grows more agitated, claiming the footage was tampered with. Glitches are blamed on the outdated system. Privacy rules prevent footage from being recorded inside the ER, meaning there's no way to verify what happened behind the doors. Without any concrete evidence of wrongdoing, the officers are legally unable to search the premises. A nurse reports finding a yellow scarf, Perry's, in the trash. There's blood on it. But the hospital says the blood matches Ray's head wound. It's not proof of the girl's presence. Dr. Bertram gently reminds Ray that head injuries can cause memory problems, even hallucinations. Ray begins to break down, emotionally unraveling, insisting he's not crazy, but the look in everyone's eyes says otherwise. Just then, Dr. Jacobs, a psychiatrist, enters with Lucado. She offers compassion and calmly says they just want to help. She walks Ray into a private office and reveals they've located a file, not Perry's, but his. She begins asking gentle but pointed questions about Joanne, about Perry, about the car accident that killed his wife Abby. Ray grows defensive. He swears he hasn't had a drink since Abby died, implying that he caused her death. Dr. Jacobs suggests they check the construction site again. The police agree and bring K9 units. They discover Perry's compact mirror and a large amount of blood at the bottom of the pit, too much for a living person to survive. Jacobs presses further. She helps Ray begin to remember. He recalls throwing a rock during an argument, a rock that hit Perry and caused her fall. Joanne, in horror, confronted him as police prepare to arrest him for double homicide. Ray notices a stray dog, the same feral mutt from earlier. In his mind, this proves he was telling the truth. He snaps. Ray assaults a female officer, takes her gun, and forces Dr. Jacobs and others to comply. Jacobs warns him, "You imagined the dog too." But Ray is past reasoning. He forces everyone into the gas station bathroom, takes Jacobs' keycard, and flees in his car. Now dressed in a stolen white doctor's coat, Ray sneaks back into the hospital through a rear entrance. He avoids eye contact with staff and stops briefly at the maternity ward, where the sight of newborns triggers a painful memory. Abby was pregnant when she died. The words, "They're both gone," echo in his head. Steeling himself, Ray uses Jacobs' badge to enter the elevator. He doesn't have access to the basement, but then Jeff enters. Ray pulls the stolen police gun and threatens him. A brutal fight breaks out in the elevator. After a violent struggle, Ray kills Jeff and takes his keys. In the lower levels, actually the hospital morgue, Ray finds Volk's plush toy that he gave to Perry, discarded in the trash. He sees staff moving organ transplant boxes and assumes the worst. The hospital is running a black dash market organ harvesting ring, and his family is next. He finds a room with an unconscious little girl on a table and Dr. Lucado nearby. Convinced this is Perry, Ray draws his gun and demands they back away. Joanne, he believes, is sedated in a wheelchair nearby. He rescues them, placing Perry in Joanne's arms. Amid the smoke and chaos, he wheels his family out of the hospital, shooting Volk on the way. Ray escapes with the two bodies in the back seat, singing gently to them, believing he saved his family. Then, the camera reveals the truth. The hospital wasn't a front for human trafficking. The lower level was just the morgue. The people he rescued were a random sedated patient and a corpse. The real Joanne and Perry were never in the hospital. Their bodies were in the trunk of Ray's car all along. Ray smiles in the mirror, driving away, completely consumed by the fantasy his mind constructed to protect him from the truth. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Let us know in the comments, what film should Cinemas Echo next?